Good morning, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be taking a look at a wholesome guerrilla tactics movement Witcher deck, and I had a lot of requests to play a human only Scoia'tael deck, but at that point I'm just looking at the humans here and there's not a whole lot besides the bandits, especially not Scoia'tael, so I wanted to say that for another time, but this is going to be as many humans technically as we can have, with exception to Simlas, Forest Protector, the Matrons, and the Sentries, because in order to make this big movement deck work, we need to have those pieces. I feel like they're super important for it, and also I've been getting requests to play movement that isn't Milva. There is no Madoc, there's no traps, none of that. You guys are tired of that. So this is going to be great for you guys as well if you want to try and play it. And I don't think it's necessarily as strong right now as the other control version going around, but it's certainly more fun if that's what you like to play. So going through the deck here, we're going to get a really big payoff from Gezras. So we could put this card on the melee row, it's going to be moving back to the ranged row, and with Adrenaline 3, it's going to boost the entire row. So obviously that's tons of points. We could also play it offensively, starting it on ranged row. If they have more units than us on melee, we can just go ahead and it'll move to the melee row and do tons of damage for them, obviously returning to the back row next turn. So it plays for a ton of points. It is at high risk for removal. We do have some cards that are going to help keep it alive and strong, such as our leader for one, but the Bountiful Harvest that come off of Simlas and Protector are also going to help. And when it moves, the sentries are going to boost it. So if we have multiple sentries, it's going to help keep it out of removal range, although it still might see the heat wave or something like that. We had to come up with some backup plays, so that's why I felt Simlas was very important, to be able to get a lot of points off this, to be able to get a lot of points off the Bountiful Harvests and what they spawn there. It could potentially help us get more sentries and things like that. And I just felt like this is probably a little bit more important than Oniro, especially because this deck is so far from meta that we have, you know, maximum value, maximum greed here. And with Simlas, I felt like Protector was just necessary, whether it be the extra Rebuke for control, because we don't have any Tall Punish, we have the ability to maybe take out one of their important engines, and maybe complete the kill with a leader charge if we have to. So, certainly helps here. Also, we can pull for a Bountiful Harvest. If everything's looking good, we're playing against more of a boosty deck, we can just grade it out. We can go for the obvious Bountiful Harvest here and get the most points possible. Now, Qwen's really good in this deck. Qwen's really good for consistency. Again, another reason why we didn't really go for Oniro here. If it pulls into Gezras, then we can guarantee the shield on it, right? And then basically that's going to prevent them from taking direct hits, so they have to use something a bit more aggressive to take away the Gezras. We can obviously look for a Gaten, a Leo if we want a big point slam, the trio if we miss them, or of course one of our bronze Witchers. So whatever the situation permits, that's what you're going to have, you know, access to. I would probably use it more likely for the trio, or for the Gezras, or for the Gaten. I find these ones are kind of the ones you're going to be fetching for. Generally, you'll be able to have enough of the bronze Witchers, whether in hand or off the Scoia'tael, so you should be good for those. And Scoia'tael with the Gaten combination is really sweet if you include the Cat Witcher Mentors, right? These ones here with the Adrenaline 4, whenever a card appears in the row, boosts self by 1. So having the ability to manipulate our rows with these two and our leader charges is going to be for a ton of points, and these can get up to 15-20 points if not treated. And that's kind of one of our win conditions, believe it or not, is a bronze package. So makes a lot of sense. That's why we have that little combination here. Leo can be interchanged for something else, but I actually didn't mind it too much because we have the trio, which gives us lots of units on the board. We have the ability to spawn a couple extra units with the selective mutation. So, you know, it starts to kind of look at a point where Leo would actually make a lot of sense to put in this deck, especially because we're greeting it out here. It's not like a control-based deck, more or less. So I like it. It could stay. And I've seen other versions with Dunka, but this plays more into the Witchers. And Trial is nice. In this deck, we're probably going to be using it more times than not defensively, because we have 3 points here off these trio. We have 2-point tokens that's going to be spawning off that. We have the 2-point Geralt Quen, so there's a lot of units that we could just take right from 2 to 12, and it makes a huge difference for us, right? It's 10 points for 6 provisions, so it's a very good trade. I didn't go ahead and put Berenger in the deck because I felt like it played too negatively into the Skellige matchup, into the Bounty matchup, into anything running poison. I've seen a lot of people trying to bring back Masquerade Ball. So, you know, just sitting there for what appears to be a cheap 6 points, I feel like we can better allocate that into something like Trial because we could use it either way. So that's why I didn't include that one there. Instead, I went for, you know, these cards and a lock. I find locks are probably very valuable in this meta right now because there's lots of things that are going to get out of control. We don't have a lot of removal in general. We have random pings, and we have, you know, maybe a couple leader charges and the rebukes with the potential of 3, but we don't have, again, that heat wave or that Geralt of Rivia or anything like that. So the lock is really going to save us here. Still a 6 base power, which is actually pretty good point slam for what it's worth. And of course, this is nothing new. The Dual Blathantis Sentry package with the Cat Witchers and the Matrons. I believe Matrons got the buff from 5 provision to 4 provision, so it allows us to greed out our mid-range a little bit more. So I do think that this deck is better than it was when it first came out and it first became popular, but I don't think that this deck is going to be super competitive within the pro ladder this season because of all the control. I think the Nilfgaard matchup is going to be very difficult, and the Skellige Onslaught matchup should be very difficult as well. And, you know, I can just to name a couple, really, there's a lot of control decks going around right now. But if you're looking for something different to play, this is definitely kind of fun. If you're a casual player, by all the means, this is great. And I believe it could get you to pro, though. So, you know, if you're looking to get into pro, I mean, this should be able to take you there. We played the games today in pro rank, so so far played about 6 or 7 games. I think we won 5. There's a couple really there was a couple ones that were just bad. If you guys want to see me get absolutely destroyed, stick around to the last game. Then there was one game I think we should have lost, but they made a mistake. So again, it was one of those things where it was doing all right. Wasn't doing great, it wasn't doing bad. I like it, and hopefully this archetype sees a bit more support in this way in the future. Let me know what you guys think of the archetype, and would you want to see more changes to it? What changes do you think it needs? And I'll be back tomorrow with another video. If you guys enjoy the content that you see today, don't forget to like the video, comment what you think, like I said, and subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way in helping with discoverability on YouTube. So let's get into the games here. Alright, and for the first game we got Nilfgaard Imprisonment. Now, off the bat, this one seems like it's going to be a difficult time for sure. Everything we have is an engine, and all they're going to do is lock poison and kill our engines. Whatever the case may be, it's not going to be pretty. But fortunately, we have a pretty good hand when it comes to just getting out a lot of the removal options. We've got at least 4 engines there, technically 5 with the Cat Witcher, now 6. I was talking with the Mentor, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's probably even better. Maybe if we get out Simlas early, then the coup won't be as detrimental. Round 3 coup on Simlas could be pretty bad.
Target acquired.
And I think I take Simlas here because we don't really want to put down engines on a blank board. What else we got? Take another sentry, of course. And that's what I was talking about, how Simlas is really good for replenishing those, because we know as soon as we put down a sentry, most opponents are just going to go ahead and try and target that. Now, I'm boosting this up. It's a little bit ambitious. It'll avoid damage, you know, but can't really avoid a lock here. I don't put any purifies in this deck. These purifies are just a little bit slower. There's a lot of engines that we just want to set up anyways, so...
As good as dead, that lot.
Just answering everything we play. So, I'm boosting Simlas here so that they have to give it spying before they coup it. It'll slow them down if that's going to be the plan. Alternative would be for them to just waste maybe a leader charge and then go and coup the Simlas. So if we could slow them down, it's probably better. Obviously, we have to respect the fact that they have one of our sorceresses now that could give them round control. So we have to decide, okay, do we put out a lock here? The problem with playing this now is that they have a really good pass on it. If they don't pass, then that's where I would probably pass at this point. But I find right now it's either you commit too much as it feels, or you just don't commit enough and then they get back in one card. So it is what it is. The thing is, I don't think I'm going to do well in round 3 if it's a long round 3, so I want to push a little bit in round 2 to see what we can get out in exchange. So Gezras is kind of nice, but again, the 2 leader charges make me almost want to mulligan it back. And we could pull for it. maybe with Gwent or something like that. But for now, let's just play some cards, right? So I decided there that I was probably going to Gwent into trio opposed to playing Gezras. That was sort of the idea. Now, I actually don't mind that 3-point leader charge, to be fair. It's not a bad move. Because we have to have a bit more of a tempo play here. So, let's get these Cat Witchers online.
Humans are scum. I prefer elves, dwarves, even.
And you would just expect that at this point, they would probably start locking these, right? Sometimes people will let them go till they hit adrenaline. I'm kind of hoping that's the way here, because maybe they would have done enough damage that, you know, they've gotten their provisions worth, but... For any of you guys who played Witcher 3, I'm curious to know what Geralt armor you chose the first time around. There's like the Griffin, the Bear, the Feline armor. I went with the Feline armor. Just reminds me of that when I see the Cat Witcher. Makes sense, right? Of course it does. That's a dumb thing to say. It is cat armor. Jeez. But just playing into it here, honestly, little underwhelming play, but we'll start to engine that here. I know that we're gonna have a little bit better time once we put out location and we get a second one. That hurts. That would have been a lot of points. So I'm thinking go trio to get the points, but I'm also thinking it's not going to put us ahead. So if we want to really crank it out and apply the pressure, it's probably best that we do use the Stick of Castle here. And if we start stacking a row, we also have the ability to maybe take the gating from the Gwent. And that actually could be really good for us because we do have Stiga, and we have the ability to get a few more units on a row here and fix up the rows perfectly.
I forgive you. This time.
So I wonder if we take... At this point I'm deciding. I don't think I go ahead and play anything here. I'm pretty sure I wait. We could just take the trial. I've been playing that card a lot the last few days. Trial, I'll probably try and make a deck without trial next time. But I've been playing a lot of like decks that have Witchers, and I just like it in those decks. So we reduce the value of their Tall Punish. I'm actually thinking about cranking it here a little bit more. They haven't answered the Cat Witchers because I'm thinking that they are expecting Gezras. And honestly, that's like the perfect situation for us because I'm not giving it to them. And unfortunately, we give them a point back, but we can't let that one stick. It's just too expensive. Had to hit the one. It's getting pretty close here. So they decide to lock one thinking, yes, we don't have Gezras. That's fine. So let's, yeah, take that out. Give our odds a little bit more chance here hitting something good. And that's perfect because the Cat Witcher on the range roll will now come back and hit the front and actually hit for the full 2. And it doesn't really matter. I just like to play it to the left. Oh yeah, it goes back. Never mind. But it's still good. The armor's gone. So they have to make the points in 2 cards, but we still have the engine going. And that's what I mean when it'll come up to the front row. And it's looking pretty good at this point, guys.
Feeling a bit peckish.
Okay, we started off with a big 2-0, but don't get your hopes up just yet. I wanted to start it off with a banger. Some of these games are a little bit harder. That game, honestly, we were very fortunate that they didn't deal with some of those engines early on. It's a perfect example that if the Cat Witchers are left untreated, they just get ridiculous. So, lesson learned for the opponent there, and lucky for us. This one looks actually really nice for round 1. Lots of good engines, but I was a little bit worried about this matchup because I know that Deathwish has the ability to deal with a lot of engines, right? We have Toad Prince, Maruna, Manticore, possibly Striga, you know, lots of different things. The only thing I don't really enjoy too much about really playing the deck is when we play this deck, there's sort of like a similar sequencing every time we play it, right? You want to get down the Sentry, then you want to get down maybe a Matron, and then you want to get down like a Cat Witcher, and you want to have those engines going. And if the opponents have played against it, they know this, and they'll be able to play against it fairly well. And opponent opts for the coin abuse. I'm saying, you know what? You're already abusing the coin. You're already going to make it tricky for me here. I decided to play this here. And they go ahead and they mana core. But I know how valuable the leader is in the matchup. So what I'm probably going to do at this point is just throw down cards and give the impression that we're contending in the round a little bit. But I'll probably look for a pass at 5. Just because I want to be able to defend a bleed, because I don't think that we could take the round with what they've done so far.
You're not done if you can still walk.
Now, there's consideration just to put down the Cat Witcher, because we can get another one off location, and if it means like a Maruna or something comes down, or, you know, something like a Parasite, I'm actually pretty happy with that, because we're looking to pass anyways. And 24-9, if you're in this situation, guys, just, I would take the pass, honestly. Just accept it and move on. Now, another thing I look out for with this deck is that you could draw into quite a few bricks, right? Now, we don't usually brick Quen, but we do often brick the trio. So you want to make sure you kind of deal with that accordingly. We do have... What's that card called? Adrenaline something or other? Jeez, I should know this. 6 provision helps us reshuffle the deck, get 2 tokens on the board. It just mind blank for a second. But that's why it's in there, basically. To recomp. Now, here's an issue. If I want to remove the Slizzard, we have to actually like use a Rebuke there or something. But if we play a Rebuke there, then we have to play another card. And I want to try and defend our card the best we can because we lost uneven. So we kind of have to play into what they're doing a little bit. But I do know how much they value these consumes at this point because they went and they used a bunch of them. So we're actually pretty fortunate with that. And so that's just a huge amount of points, man. We have to hope that they expect a 2-0 because at this point we have to really get our hand together here. It's not looking great. But if we get like 2 more turns of them not really respecting their tempo that they have and giving us an opportunity, we could be able to get back in the race here. The front row is really filling up. If I can get Trio down and get Gezras down, we might actually be able to do something here. And so we get the pass on it. Do we care?
Let's get this over with.
Plays for 6 down, 6 up. About the same thing.
I enjoy that the most.
I counted. Don't worry, I counted. It was close, but I counted. So, card down, round 3, bricked Simlas, Gezras played, selective mutations, the name of that card. There we go. It's funny, I give myself little visual cues when I'm playing the games, like I'll click certain spots at certain points and like hover on crap, you know, because it's like a cue for me to talk about it real quick. We have a pretty underwhelming Leo here, not gonna lie. Okay, so their location spawns 2 tokens, which then get eaten by the Kikamor warrior, which gives them a ton of points. We gotta remove that, hands down. And we want to start stacking melee. So, yeah, we'll start stacking melee for the Gaten. The reason why I went and took that there is because I wanted to greed up Bountiful Harvest and get more points that way. I think the best option for us is to get the Whisperer because we do have the one special in hand. And that could get a lot of value here. Maruna would suck, but Maruna's not guaranteed, and Maruna can't be played with the Consume. So, you know, it's worth trying in that case to pull off whatever gives us the most points. I still haven't seen the Consume, so I want to get more value on our engine here.
Are you fucking kidding me?
And that should just be fine. Location stacks for Gaten as well. It'll move all cards, so even location goes on melee. And we'll get some extra move around points from the castle with the sentry. So I'm actually feeling pretty good about this game so far, right? There is consideration here to boost up the Cat Witcher to 12 because it's going to lose value if we wait, and if I don't find a removable target, then we're a little bit in trouble. We just got to hope that they don't have a heat wave because now it's getting a bit more attractive for them, right? 25-point lead. 20-point lead, it's nuts. So how do we want to do this? We just play Leo here, don't we?
Recipe says cut the apples like so.
Yeah, because then next turn the robe's going to be perfectly stacked, and then we can just go ahead and basically do all that.
Damn it.
I was not expecting Yerden, let me tell you that. That's all right though. It was actually not even that great.
It's not that I know this. It's you who's
When Yerden doesn't even get you ahead, it's crazy. Yeah, we'll play this here. All these come back down, and then we can basically go ahead and just move some stuff around more. Maybe use a defensive guerrilla tactic so that we get the extra point from the sentry. And we'll just go ahead and click whatever we like here until they forfeit. There we go.
Damn it.
That was just a lucky game here. Moving on to the third game of the day, we have Carapace. I'm thinking off the bat this one's going to be Kelly, and playing Kelly in this meta is pretty daring with Milvadex being so prominent. Now, we're not running the same level of control by any means, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for us to deal with it, but we do have the advantage of having lots of little tokens and lots of engines, so it's a lot more stuff for them to answer than maybe, let's say, a Milvadex. Again, pretty quickly after watching a couple games, It's always, if you have a sentry in hand, you put it down. If you don't have one, find one with Simlas. You know how it is. Can't lock it. I don't want to use leader charges because we have to deal with Ciri. We have to deal with the defender to move it for the Kelly. And we have to deal with the Kelly itself. So I'm thinking, okay, I could deal with one Kelly, but I can't deal with two Kellys. So we have to value those quite a bit.
At your age, at 2 centuries, you behave
I
like
was
you were
thinking maybe
barely
if we
one.
find something here that gives damage, then we'll be able to ping it down and rebuke it next turn. The archer's what I had in mind.
Grow, my beauties. Reach high into the sky.
You see what I mean? It'll boost itself up to 5. Unless they do that. They saw right through us. Now, we don't have a lot of specials to play, but I want to play them soon. So I figured, like, let's get some value off this before they remove it. I think that there's always the consideration as well to go and play the matron there because the sentry's out there and it's not doing anything right now. That probably would have been the better play.
You see? You must hold it between your teeth, like so.
I'm looking for a way out of the round, but we know that they can make the points pretty quickly, so I'm trying to play it turn by turn here to see. That's kind of expense. Yeah, I'd have to leader here. They only have 2 targets for the Kelly, or for the Witch's Sabbath. This should keep us ahead. Like, even if they play whatever. And then I'll be looking to pass probably at 5 just in case. And that's just, like, again, overkill. It's either we commit too much or not enough. The longer the round goes, the better the combo gets. So I'll keep the one that's boosted at 5, but I don't really think I want the one that's 1 power right now. We have access to the trio. That should be fine. Trio off Quen. Gezra's down. I have to decide if I want to play into it. I don't mind actually just going and playing maybe 1 card and seeing how they respond to it, because if they commit heavy, then, you know, we can go ahead and we can pass on that. I just want to see if there's any potential here. Maybe we can get a Ciri Nova and pass on it, for example. Or not Ciri Nova, Ciri Dash. Sure enough, we actually kind of help. It kind of helps them a little bit, right? Giving them the Kelly so now they have the perfect setup for the Sabbath. But again, it's not all bad. I don't think with Kelly out, though, we can really play into the round too much. I was considering here if I wanted to go and push Kelly back and try and play around that, but I decided not to. I think the cards are important here, and we can just deal with those things as they come. So into Xavier. It's not like we can really bring anything back, you know? Maybe they thought we were running like a necromancy or something like that. I know some of the versions had it. I think it's too many provisions for what we're trying to do here. So we don't have to worry too much about... Well, that sucks. There. So we can basically trio, and then we can also get the Gaten from deck. Now, I'm fully expecting some of our cards to be dealt with here. We might as well just take a protector for points and see what we can get off that. And the elites, honestly kind of nice for helping us chip down the armor. I was thinking about the neophyte, but it's just more Kelly tokens. Obviously we're going to try and get to it quickly, but I kind of want to see if I can chip away at that and eventually get rid of it, because even if we move it back to the range row, then they could put other stuff behind the defender, which could be pretty annoying. So and there's no sense in pushing it back until we see what we need to see from it. So I'm pretty sure here it's time to go ahead and put some sort of engine down. Hopefully we don't hit the beast.
Catnip instead of crowns?
Of course.
Yield and save me some time.
So confident. I'm glad we waited. I guess they just weren't expecting that we had rebuke access here. And the next move would probably be to lock the beast, because we could push the Kelly back. Just because if they play anything higher than 7, that's just going to keep boosting, right? I value that a bit more than the 1 point per turn off the matron, which probably gets answered anyways next turn. Of course. It slowed them down though, because if that's at 12 points, like how much taller than 12 are they really going to go here? So that kind of helps a little bit. We have a good Kelly push, we have a good Nithral push, and we actually get the extra point from the Sentry. Okay, please tell me I take the Phantom here. I don't remember. No! I must have just been play these games this morning. Guys, take the trial on that the 5+ armor there. Honestly, whoops. See, now it's a little too late.
There's a great deal.
It's not the end of the world though, because we have good value if we were to go ahead and boost Quen with it. So I'm not totally disappointed in that. Seeing Heatwave there is pretty good, actually. I just want to fill the row here to get, obviously, more Matron. And you see what I mean? The Mentor is already at 14 points. That's fine. Even better, actually. Was thinking about the Quen there. We could do that last. Also, Quen should have been played to the right of Matron if we're going to be doing that. And we just win the game on a pass here. This is just for you guys here. I'm just throwing down Quen for points. Taking this and just kind of showing you how much points it would have been. Fortunately, we get the forfeit there. Comfortable game. So, there's a few games where things went well for us. But this game, I get absolutely destroyed. If you guys want to watch me get clapped, stick around for this one. And it's important to see games like this. Honestly, it's not fun for me to watch myself lose this bad, but it's a learning experience regardless. I think this is one of the main reasons why it's going to be hard to compete against like a lot of matchups right now is when they have this level of control that we're going to face here. So, Enslave 5 could tell me ball. It could be many things. So we started off the way we normally started off. Helga's kind of a threat. Like, I think that deserves getting a leader here because we want to try and win on blue coin for sure. Yeah, now we're just stuck with an empty board, and it's pretty much like we put down engines, they're not getting any value, and then they're just responding to them, removing them, right? That's where it gets really difficult. I don't have access to the Simlas here, and Force Protector right now needs more setup, so we're in a spot where it might have to be Matron on an empty board, because the Cat Witcher to a Joust is a really bad trade, and I want to at least get the 1 damage if they're going to kill it anyways. So we just put down Matron on an empty board. I can always TA it there just so that if they play less than 9 points I can leave. And that's so painful. The fact that it resets the card that goes to your hand, it's like an instant coin flip. They keep our cards off the playing field, they go and they play that. So what do you even do at this point, right? We have to play down to 7 regardless.
I like fighting with style.
But, you know, they pretty much established a bit of round dominance. Now with the Thin, it makes it almost impossible for us to get back. I could go and take trial on it. I could just play the Matron here. Either way is fine. Sure enough, they grab the coup. So I'm accepting it here. It's probably not going to work out. I'm also just thinking, okay, if I play, then if they pass, can we get ahead? You know, there's got to be something we can get ahead on, so... But with that, definitely not.
Illusions. You've yet to see what they can accomplish.
So that's probably where we just have to pass here, honestly. And the crazy part is they didn't commit a whole lot. They get coup right back. The Thin package is just what they do. It's just the fact that we're playing engines into control.
I forgive you. This time.
So I'm put into a bit of an uncomfortable situation here as well, because we have to come up with the points in one turn every turn. And one of the only things that I see here is going in for the Simlas. If I go in for the Simlas, it'll definitely get us ahead, but the problem is it gives them a good Simlas coup. So I'm hoping that they don't see the line, and I'm hoping that maybe they go for like an amnesty on that 3 instead, because a lot of times they can't resist it, but we'll see how they respond to it here. If I can get through this turn, then I'm feeling really good. Because I have like more room to boost things up, to make copies, you know what I mean? Just to get some more round presence. Can go into a Force Protector and Bountiful. Sure enough, they leader that. That was a good leader. If they coup it here and actually have a pair, we're in trouble. And this is kind of where I knew the game was over.
Feign not ignorant. Remember to whom you speak.
Splendid points this year, and ever they shall be. Leave it to me.
Yeah. It's huge. The problem is they run so many tactic cards that this requires like an instant answer. I'm thinking Bountiful has to be for as many points as possible. We picked probably like the worst option here. They all have like nothing that we really want at all. Would have been nice for the Archer, because that would have saved us a leader charge. But we have to remove that. And now if they pass, like literally they have card advantage.
Speak your mind. To the point.
And it's huge, so I'm putting down Cat Witcher here because I'm thinking, actually no, I'm putting down Sentry, am I not? No, Cat Witcher, yeah, that's what I did. I was thinking that, okay, they played the 2 assassinations off of the Simlas, so they're not going to use all 3 leaders, are they? But I'm pretty sure that they do here. Because if it sticks, then we have the extra points off the Sentry. Sure enough, they go and take that. Oh, even just a Joust. That's almost worse. So pretty underwhelming, but now we can finally put down Sentry. This, like, obviously, if we had a round where we weren't being bled, we could have put this down first and potentially got so much more value from it, but...
Quite literally.
There's a great deal to be learned.
Now, it would have been 1 more damage if we put Gezras on the back row and made it go up to the melee. But you know when the tilt hits, you kind of start to, like, lose belief. I find I'm more prone to maybe take little dives in those situations. But either way. So Lydia fetches Rebuke. They kill that, don't they? Yeah. Yeah, 20-point lead. It's pretty much over here. Sad game.
Not your lucky day.
And I think Trio's just the most points. We take a trial and see if we can even get out of the round. Depending on what they play here, we just know it's over. But I think it's already done. If you guys like when I show these games here and there, let me know so I'll know how to maybe go about making content in the future. Appreciate you guys stopping by as well today, and we will see you tomorrow with a brand new video. This is where I quit.
How dare you?